This is November 2nd, 2021. Beautiful city of villages in Florida. My name is Jong-woo Han. I'm the president of Korean War Legacy Foundation, which has about 1,500 interviews, not just from the United States, but also from other 21 countries that participate in the Korean War. We are doing this to, first of all, preserve your memory because it's been like 70 years ago, right? And so we want to preserve your direct witness of Korea that you saw and the battle that you fought there. But at the same time, we want to honor you so that we can have this whole thing interview analyzed by the American teachers so that they can make a curricular resources for their own students so that they can keep talking about the legacy of the Korean War and your honorable service of the Korean War veterans. It's a great honor to meet you, sir, and thank you for coming. You are the first interviews in the villages. You are very honored by that, too. And please introduce yourself. What is your name? And spell it for the audience, please.
Well, my legal name is Edward Jackson Wolverton.
Mm-hmm. But what do you want me to call you?
Jack.
Jack.
I've always been called Jack.
Okay. And what is your birthday?
8/25/33. I'm 88.
Just 88? You look great, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so, how long it's been when you went to Korea?
I joined the Army when I was 17. October 31st, 1950.
Mm-hmm.
I left San Francisco for Japan May 31st, 1951. Arrived in Yokohama, Japan, April 15th, 1951.
April what?
15th.
Mm-hmm. Right, so it's been like how many years? 71 years ago. 71 years ago now, by now. And you were in Korea, right?
I got in Korea early February of 1952.
And where did you land in Korea? Was it Busan or Incheon?
Seemed like it was Incheon. I ought to remember that, but I tell you, it's a long time ago.
Absolutely. So, this is the first question that I want to ask you. Oh, by the way, have you been back to Korea since then?
No.
No, you've never been?
No, I keep seeing in the book where I could go, my wife and I, but I never have.
Mm. So you saw the book of Korea now, right?
I've got a book at home that Roger gave me.
Mm-hmm.
It says, way it looks now.
Right. How is it?
It's it's beautiful compared to what it looked like when I got there. There was just, everything was bombed out and tore up. I never knew what town I was in. We never knew what town we were in. We weren't in a town, actually. We always out in the... We moved around quite a bit, the whole company.
And what did you see there? Everything destroyed? What about the people there? Did you see the Korean people at the time? How do they look like? How do they live at the time?
A few of them, but we ran across an old man once. He had a box with soap chips in it, and he was eating them.
Soap?
Then another guy, he had a place out in the field where he kept his, what do they drink over there to get drunk on? he had a place out there where where he brewed that.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I never went in a saloon, or I did go in a house once that had heat. They had a good idea. They built the fire outside, and then heat was sucked in under the house, so the floors all got warm.
Yes, that's what we call Ondol, meaning warm floor.
Ah.
Yes, right, you're right.
But I never went into a town. The only thing I ever remember talking about was Kumwa Valley. You know that place?
Yes, Kuma Valley, one of the iron triangle. One of iron triangle where that has the severest battles in the Korean War.
But I wasn't in them bad battles. I was only under fire one time, one day, but they almost killed me twice. So,
tell me about it. How did it happen?
Well, we were supposed to go. This is the way they explained it to us, the lieutenant.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to go to this I can't think of what bunker. This bunker.
Yep.
We were going to go to this bunker, and that's what we went out there for, only 10 of us. Go to the bunker, put a lot of fire into the openings. They weren't windows, they were just supposedly, I was visualizing it as cut into grass or sod. Anyhow, put a lot of fire into those holes where they were going to fire back at us. And while we were firing and keeping them down, guys were going to come up and throw explosives, they called them satchel packs.
Mm-hmm.
Satchel packs. And you could carry one in combat and it could get hit by a bullet and it wouldn't blow up.
I see.
So anyhow, that was the plan. Then they would throw in the satchel packs and we would come up. I was one of the guys to carry a flamethrower and supposed to put the flamethrower in there. But that whole thing got aborted, canceled. They said, I never figured out who was in charge, but they said, everybody throw your equipment, throw your flamethrowers, throw your satchel packs in a pile here. We're going to blow them up and get out of here. I'm thinking, well, hell, we haven't done anything. But that's what we did. They told us to do it, and I never did find out who was in charge of that thing.
Well, how did that endangers you being almost like killed?
Well, when we first came down and got into the no man's land, crossed the MLR, whatever, we come under fire, small arm fire, and everybody hit the ground, and this one bullet came so close, I thought I'd been hit, but it had chipped a rock and clipped it up into my wrist. So one of our guys rolled over with a machine gun and put some fire where that bullet was coming from, or bullets were coming from.
So were you wounded?
The what?
Wounded.
No, I wasn't wounded.
Wow,
it was
you
a
were lucky.
rock chip.
Wow. So where was it? Do you remember? Was it west side of it or east side of it? Do you remember where that happened? In the Guma Valley?
No,
No? Where was it?
I don't know.
Where is there a river? Imjin River?
Well, you know, the main line of resistance runs
Yes.
all the way across. I don't even know where I went across it. No, I don't think anybody did.
So do you remember when was that? Was it 1952?
Yeah, February 17th,
February 17?
1952.
Okay. So,
But get this, they told us to put everything into a pile. I already told you that.
yeah.
And so we did, and then a couple of the sergeants pulled the satchel pack, and that blew up everything. I'm thinking, what are we doing out here? We didn't even go to the battlement. Anyhow, I thought it was a big waste to blow up all that good equipment. I wasn't going to throw my rifle in there, then I'd be without anything.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, we started coming out. And to this day, I don't know who was in charge.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going up this trail. Oh, going in, one guy got shot in the stomach. And they brought a helicopter in, a little helicopter. And they carried the wounded guy on the outside on struts. So they'd lay him on there, and then they'd cover that with this plastic so the wind wouldn't blow him away. So one of our medics and one other guy stayed there, and we went on. And that's when we aborted. After that was the first time we got under fire.
Mm-hmm. So Jack, when did you leave Korea? You arrived in February of 1952, and then when did you leave Korea?
I rotated December 5th, 1952.
December 5th, 52.
And I arrived back in the United States January 6th, 1953.
Mm-hmm. So when you left Korea, now you saw the book so that you know how modern Korea is, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about this difference? When you left Korea in December 5th of 1952, did you ever imagine that Korea would become like this today?
No.
Why not?
Well, man, the pictures I saw, it's got huge skyscrapers and lights and everything. It's beautiful. If I can, my wife and I will get over there.
Yeah, you should, because Korean government is running the revisit program for you, Korean War veterans, and your spouse. So you can see everything.
Yeah.
You're going to be treated like an emperor there. So what do you think about this whole thing? The Korea in 1952 and Korea now, and you were there when the Korea was miserable. What do you think about all these things?
About how they progressed?
And about how you think about that transformation. And you were part of whole thing.
Well, I don't know how they cleaned it up because it was tore up. I mean, tore up. I never went into a little town. We always were. we moved around quite a bit here, there, but we never went into a town or a city or a little town. We never ever did because there was no towns around. Yeah.
Now it's the 10th largest economy in the world. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Can you believe?
No, it's amazing.
Amazing, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
The South Korea is just a little bit bigger than the state of Indiana.
Yeah.
They don't have a drop of oil, no oil, no big natural resources there. But they become 10th largest economy in the world.
Yeah.
They are the member of G20 now. They're going to be D10, democracy 10 in the world.
Yeah.
Going to be soon. So, are you proud of your service?
Am I what?
Are you proud of your service?
Yeah. I don't have anything to be ashamed of. Anyhow, I didn't tell you about when we were pulling out of that.
Go ahead.
Where we thought the bunker was, and ever who it was, it said, blow them up and let's get out of here. And I thought, what the hell? So we all started leaving. But I was the last guy to leave, the last man out. But there was only 10 of us. So they go up, but we wanted to space ourselves. You know, you don't want to get a bunch of people together. You know you're going to get shot then. So we're going up this hill. I'm going up the hill. There's nobody in front of me, nobody behind me. And all of a sudden, I hear bam, 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 bam. And I drop down. And I'm looking at the same time, I'm seeing these bullets go into this hill. You know, I'm thinking, damn, if I hadn't got down, a guy would have killed me. But he wasn't very good because he must have let that machine gun get up on him. So I crawled over and I got down. And then when there was a ridge, I crawled over. From there, I could stand up again because I couldn't see back there. I don't know where he was, but I have an idea. What they would do would dig a hole, then make a cover for it out of branches. And they would make it not nice and square. They had to make it cockeyed so we wouldn't look at it and think about it. Think, well, there's one. But anyhow, that's where he had to be. He let me get past, and then he started shooting. I'm glad he didn't know what he was doing.
You're almost dead, right?
Oh, yeah, that thing would have cut me in half.
Oh.
But escape.
So let's go back. I'm going to ask more about your battle experience, but let's go back to the where we start. Where were you born?
I was born in a farmhouse.
Where?
In Indiana.
Indiana.
Yeah.
Do you remember the city name?
There was no city there. It was my grandpa's farm. My mom was only 17. My dad was killed when I was 9 months old.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He was a flyer. He had his own airplane. They had a big farm. My grandpa left me 40 acres. But
how many siblings did you have? Brothers and sisters, how many?
Well, my mom later remarried, and I had 2 brothers, half-brothers. One of them is dead. And the other one, I'm not sure where he is. He can be any place. He's always like in California, Arizona. He likes that area right there.
So you went to school right there in Indiana, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And what school did you get in?
see, the other thing is my stepfather, he wanted to go to Oregon because he heard about what great vegetables they grew. So what's he do? He sells this house we have, nice house, and buys a mobile home, hooks it on behind this 51 Plymouth, and we pull it to Florida. And he wants
Not Oregon, but Florida.
Florida. Then we stayed there. I go to school there. Then we go to Texas. School wasn't in there. Then we go to California. I go to school there. Then we finally get to Oregon. I go to school there. Then I go to work for the United States Forest Service. And then I quit and joined the Army. I was 17.
17. So when you were in school, did you learn anything about Korea?
No,
No?
no.
Anything you learned about Asia at the time?
No, high schools, they didn't teach anything like that.
Not even about China or Japan?
I don't remember it.
Okay. So you were not aware where Korea was and what Korea stood for you at the time?
No.
Nothing about it?
We had heard there was going to be a war with Korea, and we were going to enter it, and then I joined the Army.
Where did you join the Army?
Eugene, Oregon.
Eugene, Oregon.
And I wanted to join, I told them I wanted to join the Airborne. They said, okay. Then they sent me from Eugene, they sent me to Fort Riley, Kansas. From Fort Riley, Kansas, we got uniforms, and they sent us all the way back to Camp Cook, California, which is the home of the 40th Infantry Division. Then they said, we can't put you in the Airborne because you got flat feet. So they put me in the engineers, combat engineers.
What unit was it?
578th.
78 combat engineer, right?
That was part of the 40th Infantry Division.
Yes. And what was your specialty?
Well, I didn't have a specialty.
Just infantrymen.
Well, combat engineers, we built some bridges. We did this, built Bailey bridges, built water, of course, the
Pontoon bridge.
pontoon bridges.
Yes, yes.
So it was okay until we went out on that one mission, and that was a waste of time, and we lost some men. One guy got killed on that first one, and then another guy, we had about 15 South Koreans that worked for us. We paid them. We fed them. But they traveled with us.
Yeah.
And they were putting their tent up, and they were cutting a drainage all the way around it for the rain. And they chopped into a mine. And it blew. The first guy, the guy that chopped, his head was peeled, his brain was showing. He was dead. Then later on, maybe a year later on, we lost one of our own guys, was out working on the road, on the ditch, on the side. He chopped into one too. I mean, those things were everywhere. So
you want to find out who was in charge of that operation that happened to kill one of your soldiers, right?
yeah,
Yeah, we want to find that out.
I never did. I don't understand how that worked. And then to go out there in the line of fire and then say, come back. If we'd have blew up that bunker, that'd been good. But we didn't. Well, I almost got shot. So I survived.
I like your spirit to want to find out who did that.
Yeah.
What was your rank at the time? Was corporal or?
Corporal.
Corporal?
Yeah. I made sergeant in March of '52. I made platoon sergeant in August of '52. And then they gave me the first sergeant duties. The first sergeant rotated back home. They gave me his duties, but they couldn't give me his rank because I hadn't been in grade long enough. Then I got sergeant first class in November of '52.
So at the time, when you were sergeant, okay, let's say that's platoon sergeant, how much were you paid by the American government? Students wants to know. Students wants to know whether there was a McDonald's or Burger King at the time when you were there in Korea. Where did you eat? These are the questions that elementary school children wants to know.
They want to know where I ate.
Yeah, and how did you live there? What was your living condition? Did you check into Holiday Inn or? Tell me about those.
We always had tents, and we'd have to tear them down, big tents, squad tents, and we'd have to tear them down every time we'd move and then put them up when we got where we were going. But they were okay. We had fold-out bunks in the tent. We had a heater. I think it was oil. And one night it screwed up and put all the smoke in the tent. And everybody woke up coughing and had to get out. And we ate. We had a cook, and we ate regular meals. I mean, breakfast, lunch, and if we were out working on the road or working on something, they'd bring it out to us.
Ah,
Yeah,
very nice.
yeah,
So you never tried sea ration?
yeah,
You did?
yeah.
What was your favorite menu there? Remember?
Frankfurters,
Aha!
the little ones. But we didn't have to because
You had a cook.
we had a cook, and they kept us supplied with food. It was and we didn't get bombed or we didn't get any fire except that one day.
Got it. Who was your enemy? Was it North Korean soldier or Chinese soldier? Did you know?
I don't know. I assumed they were North Koreans.
North Koreans?
That's what I assumed.
And again, how much were you paid? What was your salary?
Well, when I went in the Army, it's $75 a month, and I don't know.
Around $100?
Well, when I was a sergeant, first class,
Yes.
that was more than that.
But that was back in the US, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that money, what did you do?
Play poker.
Did
I
you?
sent money home
Oh,
every month,
how much?
but I told them, well, that $75, I sent $50 home. So I had $25, but I could they furnished the food, so I'd play poker, drink beer.
Were there any Korean children living in your tents and helping you?
No.
No Korean at all?
Yeah,
Civilian.
we had Koreans helping us after that one that blew up and killed all those guys. That was terrible. I was the acting first sergeant then, so I went down there immediately to see what went on. I thought somebody would dropped a bomb, but he'd hit a mine. We even had, later on, Korean guards we had guards all the time, 24/7. Mm-hmm. And they would walk or they would be stationed somewhere.
So let me ask you this question. What was the most difficult thing during your service in Korea? If I ask you to pinpoint only one thing out of many difficult things that you experienced, what was the thing that made you feel, oh, it's so hard and difficult at the time?
Well, other than going out and getting shot at, we had a line that went up to the top of this mountain. And we would take turns going and running that line. We'd send up food, send up ammunition, they'd send down bodies. And we had a little dugout there that we slept in. That was not fun, because it was cold.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cold.
Where did you live in Korea?
I was born in Seoul, and I lived there in Seoul until I came to the United States in 1985. Have you been to Seoul when you were there?
No.
No? Have you been to any other city in Korea while you were there?
No.
No.
We just stayed out in the field. Mm-hmm. But we had tents and beds and food, ammunition, radios. We were okay. I'd heard about guys getting bombed, but we never got bombed.
I see. So you were lucky.
Yeah.
But because you were the combat engineer corps there, so that you were not in the far front line of battles.
No.
You were in the back position.
Well, no. There were 3 zones that you got. If you were up close to the main line of resistance, MLR, you got 3 points. If you were back here, you got 2 points. Mm-hmm. If you were on back, you got 1 point. Mm-hmm. That's those points. You had to have 36 points to rotate.
Right.
I was assigned to KMAG at one time, Korean Military Advisory Group. Mm-hmm. I went down there and tried to train them from March till July. Well, that made me, where everybody else was going home, and I didn't have enough points. And the one lieutenant tried to give me a field commission, second lieutenant, if I would sign over for another year. But I didn't take it, and I should have.
Why not? Why didn't you take it?
I wanted to go back home.
Uh-huh. Were you married at the time?
No.
Did you have a girlfriend?
Well, that didn't last long. When you're not around, they don't last long.
Exactly.
No, I didn't have a girlfriend.
So were you able to write letter back to her when you, in the beginning?
No, when the beginning. Mostly then after that, my mom would write me, I would write her, tell her what was going on.
What did you write to her?
I'd
Your
tell
mom?
her what happened that day, or to send me some money.
You asking money from your mom?
Well, that's where I sent the money.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she put it in the bank for me, $50 a month.
Mm-hmm.
I only made 75, but as I got promoted, I made more money.
Right.
But it didn't mean much, really.
So what did you do with that money when you returned to the United States?
Bought a car.
Aha. What did you buy?
I think a 41 Plymouth.
Brand new one? No.
No,
Used one.
used.
Mm-hmm. Good for you.
I never had a new car till I was older.
Let me ask this question. What was the most rewarding moments during your service in Korea? When did you feel that you were so proud and you felt like, oh, I did good thing? When was it?
It had to be when I got promoted to first sergeant.
Did you have a party that night?
No. We didn't have anything to drink.
Why not?
Got to have something to drink to have a party.
I mean, they provide you beer, right? You were able to buy beers there at the time.
Yeah, I think they gave us beer like, I can't remember. Maybe a case of beer for our tent, something like that.
Mm. Were you able to take shower at the time?
I only remember one. I only remember one shower.
Only one out of 6 months?
But we had.
You were stink.
No, yeah. But we had. If we come to a river, we'd jump in, take our clothes off naturally.
Yep.
But it's funny that I only remember one shower, and I know I had to take more than that. They would, portable, they would bring them in, wooden floor, tent, the tubing, and then they would call us and tell us, okay, come on down. And we'd bring maybe a platoon, and then that platoon would take a shower, then another platoon, and then I ran into a guy that I went in the Army with from Oregon. He was in the infantry, 224 infantry, and he was walking to the shower too.
How was it? How did you feel when you had the first shower?
Felt good.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you have a hot water?
Yeah.
Oh, good, good. If you want to go back to Korea, I can recommend you. Here is the Mark Carey. He's the Korea defense veteran who's been arranging this whole series of interviews. I really appreciate him, and I'm going to have an interview with him later. But you can tell him, and we can work together so that you can have a slot in the program called Revisit Korea for the Korean War veterans. Now there is a slot for the Korea defense veterans too. So
Count me in.
yeah, let's work on it. But Jack, now you are 87. 88. Okay. You look young, actually. Not 88, but after all those years, you didn't know where Korea was when you were in the school, when you were in the school, right?
No.
You didn't know where it was, and you went there in 1952 and you saw completely demolished Korea.
Yeah.
Now you know the whole thing about Korea now. It's a brilliant economy, very strong economy,
Yeah.
very substantive democracy. You know, the Korean people, they put their president into prison twice. There are two presidents already in the prison right now at this moment.
Really?
Yeah, they impeached them.
South Korea?
Yeah, South Korea.
Huh.
That's how the civic society is strong and almost like a belligerent. So you see these things, Korea in 1952 and now. And you were there, right?
Yeah.
Fought for the Korean people.
Yeah.
How do you put all these things into a perspective? How do you think about all these things? That why did it happen to you? What did you do? And what do you think about the whole thing as a Korean War veteran?
You mean now or?
Now and before.
Well, I drive a Korean car.
Now?
Yeah.
What is it?
Hyundai.
Hyundai. Okay.
It's only got 2,000 miles on it. I just bought it.
Aha. What is the name of it? Hyundai what?
Tucson.
Tucson. Okay. That's a SUV, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well, I like it.
why did you buy a Korean car? There are many other good cars. But why?
Well, I liked them. I liked the looks of them, and I liked everything I heard about them. Korea makes a good car.
See? Did you ever think that Korea would make automobile like that?
No. When I got there, the railroads were tore up, the bridges were tore up, the buildings were blown up. It was not a good place.
Not a good place,
It was
right?
sad.
Yeah.
But they had a railroad line working because we got on it when we got off the ship, and it took us to wherever they took us. I don't even know where they took us.
Have you tried kimchi?
Tried teaching?
Kimchi, the vegetable, hot vegetable that Koreans eat. Do you know?
Probably.
You did?
Well, I probably tried it because I tried a lot of stuff over there.
Anything you remember?
You say kimchi?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You did?
yeah.
Did you like it?
Well, it was okay. It wasn't like I was used to it. And then a drink they would make.
Makgeolli.
Yeah.
It's like a milk, right? White, and it's not. It's something like a French onion soup, right? White. Do you remember that, or was it? How was it? Do you remember the color of that liquor?
No,
No. Did you like it?
it was alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Anything with alcohol, you like it.
yeah.
So, Jack, is there any other episode you still remember about your battle experience or dangerous moments that almost killed you there?
No, that guy, well, the first guy that when we come down and got into the main line of resistance, the no man's land, and that guy shot and hit that rock and blew it up in my arm. That could have hit me. It did hit our one guy. He's the one they took out on a helicopter. But the guy with the machine gun, it really could have cut me in two. But I'm just lucky. Some guys weren't lucky. One guy got hit almost directly with a mortar. Another guy got hit in the heel. They were both squad leaders.
So, Jack, why do we call Korean War as a forgotten war? Do you know why? Why the war that you fought for Korean people has to be known as forgotten war?
Yeah, I didn't like that.
right?
Yeah. I don't know why they call it that.
But did you want it to forget about the war when you left Korea and came back to the United States?
I didn't forget about it.
You didn't.
No.
Did you tell about it to your family member, your wife and your children? How many children do you have right now?
One son.
One son. Did you tell him about the war that you fought?
No, I didn't talk much about it.
Why not?
I didn't want him to think I was a big-time soldier, you know. I told my two brothers when I first got back about that machine gunner,
Uh-huh.
but I haven't even told my wife about the machine gunner.
So do you live in village right now, villages?
No, I live in Leesburg,
Leesburg. How far is it from here?
10 miles.
10 miles. Thank you for coming again, Jack.
Well, I enjoyed it.
So any other story that you want to leave to this interview? Anything that you didn't mention but you want to?
No, but I'll think of some when I get home.
Anything you remember, still remember, or anything that bothers you still? Except that machine gun and the guy who was in charge of to blow up that bunker.
Yeah. I don't know who was in charge of that mess.
We have to find that out.
We'll never find that out.
That really bothers you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jack, I want to thank you again for your service, honorable service, which contributed to the Korea now. It's the 10th largest economy in the world, most substantive democracy, I can say, in the world.
Yeah.
And I wrote about it, I teach about it, and I know what it's like. And you are the one who made that transformation from miserable Korea to proud Korea.
It's great Korea. The pictures I've seen. And I will go there someday if I don't die first.
You gotta go. You gotta go, okay?
Yeah.
So you let me know whenever you are ready, and I'll put your name into the list, okay?
Well, we've got a list, the cave, this group that I belong to, we got a
Yes.
magazine that we send out. And it's
You mean the graybeard?
Graybeards.
the what?
Graybeards.
Graybeards.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, Jack, do you have any message to Korean people about this interview, about your service during the Korean War? Anything you want to say to the Korean people? Look at the camera here, and say anything you want.
Well, they're great people. The civilians, when I was there, always treated me right. But I didn't see enough of them. The ones that come and work for us, they were always good. They even did guard duty for us. I was going to bring one of the lists that I typed up as a first sergeant, because I had to type one every day. Well, I didn't, this clerk did. Who was on guard duty that week, that day?
Do you still have that?
Yeah,
Oh,
I got one. I could get it out and make a copy of it.
yeah, and send it to me.
Or bring it to our next meeting, and I'll make sure Dr. Hahn gets it for you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Or give it to Roger.
Roger.
Yep.
Yeah,
And he'll
that'd be
make sure I
best
get it.
because he comes to all the meetings.
Yep, I'll see him next week, and then, or 2 weeks, and I'll make sure Dr. Hahn gets it.
Okay.
So Jackson, continue and finish. What is your message to the Korean people? What do you want to say to them? You said that they are great people. They are very nice. Even guarded you.
I'm proud of the way you built your country. I couldn't believe it when I saw that. I got this book at home that Roger gave me, hardcover.
Reborn Korea.
Yeah. It is good. I don't see it here.
I should have brought it. I have boxes of those, but I assume that you had it. So, thank you, Jack. You did it. You did it for the Korean people, and they will never forget. That's why we are making this. And my foundation's teachers will listen to this, and they will try to find out who was in charge of that blow.
You never will. That guy must be dead by now.
Yeah. But I promise you that this is going to be used in our classroom for our young generation so that they know what you did and how Korea became today what it is. Okay?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, sir.
All right.